Hello, welcome everybody to this special Wednesday night live with Nik Kalyani. And Nick's got a presentation for us all. So I think that what'd you say, Nick? You wanted to just do a little discussion, let people come in and settle in before we get started for your presentation?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get things warmed up a bit. I haven't talked to you guys in a few days, so hi everybody. Nice to see everyone.
What's going on?
The last time we talked,
thanks for being here, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. The last time we talked was when we did the brand announcement, and since then I'm super happy that it's been well received. Tons of swag stores, I can tell you that. So many of them. Yeah. That's great. Love it. But wonderful to see everyone again, and looking forward to the talk today and hearing feedback and reactions to that also.
Well, I had the opportunity to check out Jamila Greer's Spotify and some of her background and stuff like that from the picture of your meeting with her the other day. I thought that was she's a pretty impressive person. I thought that was pretty nice. Yeah. Her Spotify podcasts are pretty good. They're pretty good. So
yeah. And what I'd like to do is I haven't talked to you all about this, but maybe on Friday we can do an AMA with some of the team members, and so we can say hi to them and meet them.
Oh yeah. Fridays.
That would be great. Yeah.
That's fun to get all of them together and everything like that. But so I know that it's slowly starting to creep up with people. I just don't want you to start off on your presentation and then while you're doing it, we're doubling our audience and they're missing out at the beginning, and then they're, what happened in the beginning, but
we're asking questions about things that have already been talked about.
It always happens.
Never fails.
Yeah.
Nick, I must say, I was out of town this past weekend when you did the brand reveal. I do love the name Vitruveo.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Great.
I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Be on that live.
Got the Greek stamp of approval.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Sunny T, you guys, and there's somebody else too. Somebody says, I'll have to go check. I think the Mammoth, but Sunny T spent the whole weekend creating her merch store and everything, and that was pretty neat. You know what? I'll look for their links while you're doing your presentation, so I have them afterwards, and I'll put them up there for everybody. But
yeah, she has one. Rich Hudman has one.
Oh, that's right. And Rich,
I gotta get on mine.
Greek slacking.
Yeah,
he's had he's had like 2 vacations already, man. It's been like what?
Yeah, I'm
3
going
days?
Out of town again Friday, so that's here there.
It must be tough. It must be tough.
Yeah.
Nick, I heard.
What's it like being like in R? What's that like?
Nick, I heard a rumor that you haven't slept in a while.
I have not slept in a while because I've been working on this. I'm very excited about it. When I get sort of hyper-focused on something, I can't sleep. I need to just get it out. And so, yeah, we have this is going to be a long one, folks. I'm telling you, you better get your popcorn, whatever. It's 50 slides. So
awesome.
That's nothing.
Let's get into it. I mean, the numbers are going up a little bit, but I think we got the majority of the audience is going to be here at this time. They're probably going to do the rewatch for a lot of it, but let's get into it. You got something down here that you want me to, you ready for me to bring this up?
Sure. Yes, please.
All right. So I'm going to bring this up and then I'm going to remove us. And like I said, we'll all be back here behind the scenes helping out. If you need anything, let us know.
All right, cool. So thank you so much. Today I'm going to talk about the creator economy, but before I get talking about that, what I want to do is kind of rewind a little bit and talk about when I presented the strategic plan. And in that plan, I talked about a blockchain for creators. and I maybe had 2 slides in there with some very high level details. And I am very appreciative of this community that they sort of trusted me on those 2 slides, which were, at like 50,000 feet. They lacked a lot of detail on how exactly are we going to create and succeed with this blockchain for creators. Now, fast forward to today, and we are starting to formulate the DAO. We're getting team members in place, etc. It's a journey. It's gonna take some time to get there. But one of the most important things for the team to do right now is to be aligned on the vision. And a strategy deck at 50,000 feet is not enough for a team to get aligned and to actually execute, right? So we have to get down to a lower elevation, and we have to get details into place. So what I'm going to present today is extremely raw. We just got the brand done, etc. This is not completely branded or anything. This is raw information, but it's well organized, and it is intended to communicate to you how we're going to make this blockchain for creators happen. It's going to give a lot of detail, and I hope that at the end of this presentation, you will feel even more confident about our ability to execute on this and make this a world-class protocol, a world-class project, a world-class ecosystem that we can all be proud of, and that is sort of going to be the future for creators in Web3. So that's my goal for today, to present this very raw, like literally been working on this for the past 72 hours, haven't slept, and got some input yesterday from our team members. They gave some good insights. I've adapted accordingly and ready to go. So the topic is the creator economy with Vitruveo. I put my whole presentation online. So it's at that tinyurl.com/vitruveo-creator-ama. So you can go ahead, read it all ahead of me. But I'm going to add a fair bit of color as we go along. So it will help to move along with the presentation. All right, with that out of the way, let's just get going. So the first thing I like to do when trying to talk about a product, which is what this is all about, is really very crisply and clearly identify the problem. So the problem is that today, in the world of Web3 and NFTs, the existing solutions for digital art collectibles are broken. Question is, why? How? What's broken about it? Well, let's explore. So the first problem is that there is no creator or artwork verification. It is a free-for-all. Anyone can post an NFT, put any price on it. Someone can come and buy it. There is no way to verify if the artwork that was posted as an NFT was in fact created by the creator. There is no way to verify that the artwork is in fact an original. It was not copied from somewhere. There's no way to know if the creator is a genuine person, as they claim to be in their profile, or if they're a scammer or a team of scammers. All these problems exist, and there is no solution to it in sight. Second problem, right now, artists have no mechanism by which they can communicate the licensing or their royalty requirements for the artworks that they put on chain. There isn't any mechanism. The existing standards of ERC 721 and ERC 1155 literally just assume that you're going to have a token, it has an ID, and everything else is stored off-chain, typically on durable storage like IPFS or Arweave or something, but there is no standard around it. So it's anyone can do anything they want, and there isn't any way to enforce licensing. There are some standards being developed for around royalties, around secondary sales, etc., but it still isn't there at the point where you would call it mature or workable even. Problem number 3, the media assets associated with NFTs or digital art collectibles today are off-chain, and the only thing you have in the contract is a link to that off-chain entity. An artist can post-sale change that. So you might buy a glorious piece of art, but the artist can go in anytime and change that URL and point it to some meme or whatever they want. It doesn't really matter. It's also possible for that to be easily foraged. So it's not exactly very confidence inspiring when you pay maybe thousands of dollars for an artwork and you cannot have any assurance that that artwork is in fact authentic and that artwork that is linked will not be changed. So that's a big problem. The next one. This continues to plague not just digital art collectibles, but crypto and Web3 as a whole. The user experience is really, really poor, especially for buyers. The ways that the marketplaces allow buyers and artists to interact is quite weak. I mean, you can have a set price, you can have an auction, you can have reserves, etc. But there's no consistency among all the marketplaces. Some offer some features, some don't offer some features. And at the end of the day, it's buyer beware on whatever is going on there. And it's not exactly conducive to attracting more buyers to the ecosystem. And the proof is right there in the data. The number of new buyers entering the ecosystem is shrinking. And that not all of that can be attributed to the market being down. User experience or poor user experience plays a big part in it. The next one is there is absolutely no support or compliance around standards. There exist well-defined, well-researched, and well-adopted standards in the world of artworks, in the world of music, in the world of film, etc. But these are absent. They're nowhere to be seen. There's not even a whiff of them anywhere in the current standards. So this is a problem. What this has resulted in is that traditional artists and art organizations, a large majority of them who are still not in Web3, they don't trust and they don't see any benefits to embracing Web3. That's a fact. That is indisputable. You can ask a majority of traditional artists who are not yet in the space, and they'll essentially just call it, like a plaything or a poo-poo it, essentially. They don't take it very seriously. And they have good reason for it because of the problems I just talked about, right? So we are on a journey to fix that. It's a very, very big task. It's a monumentally large task. It's also a very complex task. But I believe we have the vision, the drive, the community, and the resources to execute and make this happen. Now, in my presentation here today, I'm going to talk about how we're going to make that happen. And I know a large part of the community right now comes at it from the crypto perspective. You're thinking more in terms of the coin and the price and the listing and all those kind of things. But let me just tell you one thing and be very, very clear about it. We can aspire to think about any kind of price, etc., for the token, any kind of coin, but that doesn't mean it will manifest itself. The only way it's going to manifest and have staying power, sustainable, where it doesn't just go down to zero, is if we build something of value. We absolutely must create something that is valuable to the world, because then that translates into value for the token. So indirectly, as I'm talking about all this, in your mind, you should translate that into how can this be valuable to the world, which then translates into value for the token. So indirectly, the concerns, the needs you have to make sure that your investment, you get a return on it, is fulfilled. So this is the only path to it. I know no other path to creating a project that has a successful sort of token, because if there isn't anything of value, there's no reason that the world, the investors, etc., look at that token and go and say, "Oh yeah, this is I'm going to pay for this, pay a high amount for this." It's not going to happen. So this is why it's very important that we go through this exercise, we go through this detail, and really identify how we're going to do this and create significant value. All right. So what are we going to do to address this problem that traditional artists and art organizations don't trust and don't see any benefits to embracing Web3? After all, we are creating a blockchain for creators. It cannot succeed unless we can get these traditional artists and art organizations across all forms of media to actually come on board. So our challenge is, and the solution really, is to build an ecosystem that is designed from the ground up to benefit creators. We have to address those problems. The 5 problems I alluded to are the top problems, but there's a lot more problems also. But you know what? Any entrepreneur will tell you that when there is a problem, there is an opportunity. That is what this is. This is an opportunity for us to solve big problems with a compelling and a very, very focused solution that actually makes the world sit up and take notice and puts us on the map in terms of successful blockchain protocols. So that's what I want to do. This is what Vitruveo is about. It is about building an ecosystem that is designed from the ground up for creators and to solve the problems that exist today. So let's talk about how this solution is going to come to play. When I think about this solution, I think about it at 2 levels. And in each of those levels, I think about it in 2 parts. So the first level is the protocol. So we will have built-in features in our protocol that address some of these problems. In addition, we will also have some special smart contracts that are deployed at Genesis with this protocol that address and are part of the solution set. So that's one layer. The second layer is the ecosystem. So we'll have a collection of web and mobile dApps, and we will have various programs and incentives that together create and elevate this ecosystem. So the solution isn't any one thing. Just having a protocol with rebasing isn't a solution. We need to have the full package. We need to have thought through this from the bottom up. You know, I like to think about Apple as an example as I'm going through this. If you think about the Apple ecosystem, it's a vertically integrated ecosystem, right? They start at the chip level, the manufacturing of it, the manufacturing of the product. They manufacture the operating system and design and develop that. They develop the apps and the standards around that. They have an app store where third-party developers can contribute their apps, which are reviewed for quality and then put on there. So that's a vertically integrated ecosystem. And the reason a vertically integrated ecosystem has benefits is that you've thought through all aspects, all layers of the problem space, and you have a solution for that. So when you think about this solution that I'm presenting here, you have to think like that. We are creating a vertically integrated ecosystem for creators, a lot of whom don't even know some of the things we are talking about are possible, but we are going to make them possible. So protocol plus ecosystem together are integral parts of our solution. One without other doesn't work. We need both of them, and we need both of them to function like a well-oiled machine, like all the components of it, right? So let's get into the parts of the solution. So I'm going to start with the protocol. We'll talk about the built-in features, and we'll talk about the special smart contracts. What do we have here that will incentivize and attract creators to come to Vitruveo and use our solution? So the solution for the protocol, I've created a simple box diagram. The actual implementation of it is quite complex, but for the purpose of our discussion this afternoon, these boxes are adequate. So on the left, you see early adopter rewards. So this is a protocol feature. This is a repositioning of and an easier way to explain what is rebasing. So we'll get into that in a second. So that's built into the protocol. And then straddling the protocol, but sort of above it a little bit, are these special smart contracts. So smart contracts are programs that run on top of a blockchain protocol. I don't know why they're called smart contracts, because they are neither smart nor contracts, but they're really programs that have fixed code in them, fixed business rules in them that are executed. So in this solution, I'm proposing 2 special smart contracts that are sort of privileged in the protocol. Most smart contracts, they run on top of the protocol, and they have no special privileges. They're all equal. But because we own the protocol, we build the protocol, we code the protocol, we can create special smart contracts and give them certain privileges. So there's two of them. The first is called creator base, and the second is called asset base. And what I'd like to do is walk you through these features here and talk about them in terms of benefits. I can think of 6 benefits. So let's walk through each of those and see how they work. So let's start with the first one, early adopter rewards. So as I mentioned, that's a way to say rebasing. So here's how that works. Some of you may be familiar with this, but it's a good refresher. So what happens is every 24 hours, if the transaction goals for the protocol, which we set at Genesis, they're already set, defined. Here are the goals. Every 24 hours, here's how many transactions you must have. If those goals are met, a quote-unquote rebase occurs. Rebase is, in plain English or in plain financial terms, compound interest. It's just a fancy way of saying that you have compound interest when you put money into your savings account, and it grows over time. It's just like that. When rebase occurs, every wallet, regardless of what account it's in, the balance compounds at an APR of 32%. That's what we're working with right now. And that continues to happen until we hit a cap of 250 million tokens. That's the maximum that'll happen. So the rebasing in this protocol is really a way to say they are early adopter rewards. They're early adopter rewards because it's finite, right? The rebasing is going to stop once we get from the initial 50 million tokens to 250 million tokens. So let's say that takes around 5 years. Maybe it takes 4, maybe it takes 6. We don't know that because it's performance driven. But let's estimate that it takes 5 years. So this essentially is a way to reward early adopters in the first 5 years of this protocol. We're building this protocol for a very long lifespan. It's not just something that we are doing for a couple of years. We're doing it for many, many, many decades, right? So early adopters in the first 5 years or less, depending on how well we perform and how quickly the 250 million cap is reached, are going to benefit significantly from this. So in the people who are going to benefit are creators. So we will, through, as you will see as part of this presentation here, make incentives available to creators to get them on our protocol. And as part of that, they'll have tokens. And those tokens will grow, will rebase, will have compound interest, just like your tokens would. So if you're an investor and you have tokens, then those are going to grow. So that's the same way. So that is one significant benefit, right? Let's look at the next benefit. So just to repeat one more thing there. So in addition to the compound interest, there's also going to be incentive pools. So we have incentive pools set up for investors, and there's going to be a follow-up presentation where we talk more in detail about that. But we'll also have incentive pools for creators. We want to encourage people who are sitting on the sidelines right now, who are not yet in Web3, to come on board and say, like, come on, this is designed for you. We've eliminated all the problems. We've optimized things for you. We made it super simple. So come on board here. So that's what early adopter rewards is about. The next benefit I want to talk about is creator verification. If you go back to my problem number 1, I said there's no creator or artwork verification. So it follows that we need to do that on our protocol. So how do we do that? So creator verification, the way it works is that we will implement a multi-level KYC, know your customer, for all creators with standards-based results in the creator-based special smart contract I told you. So you can think of that creator base as a smart contract that is sort of a collection or a directory, if you will, of every creator on the platform, and we'll have them go through KYC. Now, we can have the KYC at different levels, where something could be as simple as, oh, we verified your mobile number, and that's a real basic KYC. But we could also have higher level KYC, which is the kind of KYC you go through potentially when you sign up an exchange or something like that, where it verifies that you are in fact a person, and it looks for a government issued ID, and so on and so forth. So just to be clear, we are not saying that all creators need to be doxxed. We're just saying that their identity needs to be verified. So it's possible for us to keep their identity undoxed, but still that they are verified. So this adds an element of trust that's really, really important. So creator verification will be a part of this. Now, as we talk about the solutions in here, you're going to see repeatedly that everything we talk about is very standards based. In the world of Web 2 right now, the W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, has developed a new standard. It's called verifiable credentials. So guess what? The creators that we bring on board and the verification that we do, their credentials that we put into our smart contracts will conform to this verifiable credentials standard. So in this standard, there are issuers, there are holders, and then there are verifiers, and there's a registry. So you can think of our creator base contract as being that registry, of us as Vitruveo as being the issuer of a credential, and then the artist or the creator are the holders. The great thing, the amazing feature about this verifiable credentials is an issuer can issue them, but anyone can verify them and see for themselves that the claims made by the holder of that verifiable credential are in fact true. So we will have standards-based creator verification. So let me just scroll up here a bit. All right. So the question comes like, why do we even need this, right? So there are three reasons why I think it's important for us to have this. The first is it reduces the instances of fraud. If we are trying to create an ecosystem that is based on artworks, and some of them or many of them will be high value, if you want to incentivize the best music stars, if you want to incentivize the best movie makers, etc., to build on this platform, we need to make sure that we do everything possible to reduce instances of fraud. And the best way to reduce fraud is to nip it in the bud and make sure that the potential creators who will publish artworks, etc., have been checked out. So we know that they are not going to commit fraud. This inspires confidence for buyers, and it increases the overall trust in the ecosystem. And that's really, really important. All right. So the next benefit is standards compliant metadata. You're going to hear me say standards compliant a lot because I feel like if you're going to be really successful in this, we need to reach back to the existing world of Web 2 and look at what they have done and implement those things in Web 3 versus trying to constantly reinvent the wheel. It doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel when the world has already adopted a standard. So that's where standards compliant metadata comes into play. So metadata is information about something. In the world of NFTs right now, metadata is made up. It's completely fictional. You can create an artwork and you can make up whatever metadata you want. You can have a PFP project, for example, and you can have things like traits on there. You can have like hats and noses and ears and all that. But when it comes to artwork, you can have attributes like who's the artist who created it, what date was it created, what location was it created in, what category of art is it, what media was used, etc. Those kind of things would be useful for an artwork. But guess what? They don't exist. No one's done it. There's no standard for it. We are going to implement a standard. So the way we are going to do this is requires us to take a step back and look at the architecture of this platform. So what we're going to have on our platform is an asset consignment registry. It's a mouthful, but let me explain to you in plain English. What it means is a creator consigns, meaning hands over their work into a specialized registry. It's a smart contract. It's that asset-based smart contract you see highlighted in here. And they pay a fee. That fee is initially subsidized by the DAO. We'll talk about that fee in just a moment. You can think of this almost like registering a domain name. Like when you go register a domain name right now, you pay a registrar a fee, and that domain is yours for the amount of time that fee is valid. Like, so if you do it annually, it's valid for 12 months and so on. So think about it that way. If you're an artist, you consign your work to our asset consignment registry, and you pay a fee. And that artwork is now active there for that period of time. Now, if you are already in Web3 and you've published some NFTs or whatever, you're probably thinking of the term mint. This is not that. We are not asking anyone to create an NFT or anything like that at the point where you're consigning your work. This is more aligned with what happens in the real world right now with artists and galleries. Let's say that an artist has a pre-existing relationship with an art gallery. When they create a new work of art, they take it and they consign it to the gallery. What that really means is saying, I'm done with my part. You need to market and sell this for me. And that's why I'm consigning it to you under the terms of some agreement. And what the gallery then does is they mark it up a lot, and they sell it, they keep a healthy profit, and they give the artist some money back. So consignment is just that. You're handing it over for the purpose of something to occur. So in this case, it's an on-chain consignment. The artist is giving us their artwork. And keep in mind, I say artwork. It could be visual art. It could be a song. It could be a movie. It could be a book. We don't constrain ourselves. And in fact, that term asset is very deliberately chosen for that reason. It's just something of value. It's intellectual property of value. It's an asset. So they consign it to the artwork and they pay the fee. Now, let's talk about that fee. So as I mentioned, it's similar to domain and ENS names. In order for an asset to remain active, an asset consignment fee must be paid. So if you've paid a fee for a year, then that asset is active for a year. Now, those fees are recurring revenue. And here's the kicker. It's divided between the DAO and validators. One of the things that I have been sort of thinking about a lot, and I know a lot of the validators have also been thinking, is how can we have recurring income in perpetuity? And so far, there were only a couple of vectors we had, right? We had gas fees, we had tokens and all kinds of incentive tokens, etc. But in order for something to exist in perpetuity, there needs to be a constant influx of it. This is it. As this blockchain takes off, we will have more and more creators bring their assets on chain. So we expect in perpetuity to have lots of assets registered into our asset consignment registry. And for every one of them, there's going to be a fee. And a portion of that fee goes to the DAO, and a portion of that fee goes to validators. More about that later. I am not yet ready to go into the economics of it. That's a separate kind of modeling spreadsheet, etc. We'll get into the pricing, etc. But for right now, just know that when someone registers an asset with the asset consignment registry, they pay a fee, and that fee on chain gets divided up among the DAO and validators. All right. Now, we want to incentivize creators to come on board here. They are going to look at that asset consignment fee and say, no way, I'm not going to pay for anything, especially for an unproven, untested, unvalidated platform, right? It's brand new. No one knows us. Therefore, what we need to do is that for the foreseeable future, for the first couple of years at least, maybe more, we need to subsidize that fee with a token pool, so that we work out a mechanism by which when artists or creators, they go through the KYC, we give them a few tokens, and those tokens are then used to pay for consigning the assets. It may be that we give them credits instead. So at the end result is that there are tokens that are previously parked, enter into circulation, and they enter it as a subsidy so that creators can freely come on board and experience the benefits of our platform. So it becomes a great revenue stream, and it makes it possible for us to attract the best creators that are out there. Now let's talk about the metadata. Now that we've said this consignment thing, etc., we can get back to what we were actually talking about, which is metadata, right? Now, when you consign an asset as a creator, you will need to provide metadata for that asset. So the metadata could be like, what's the title, who's the creator of it, when was it created, what style or genre it is, what category does it, what country does the creator belong to, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of that. Now, we don't want to make that up. We want to trust professionals to do it. And guess what? The professionals at the Getty Foundation and about several hundred museums in the world got together and they developed a standard. And that standard is called linked art. And in our protocol, we will, for visual artworks, conform to the linked art standards used by museums. So when a creator consigns their asset, they need to provide us data that, think of it as a form. Like linked art, the specification is literally just a form, right? Here are all the fields, and some of them are drop-down choices. Those drop-down choices are called vocabularies. So whenever you have a metadata schema like this, the components of it are called vocabularies. So the museums have agreed on the vocabularies. So when you select, what is the medium of your artwork, there's going to be a drop down, and it's not something you can just type in and say, oh, well, it's canvas or it's stone or whatever. There are hundreds of predefined choices, and that's what makes a standard valuable, because now across many organizations and across many artworks, when someone says that the medium used was X, everyone knows what it is because it's a common vocabulary. So this is important. So let's look at what this data model looks like. And now we're getting into the innards of the architecture of this. I'm going to try and keep it business level, but it's important for you to know that we've thought a lot about this and tried to create something that will stand the test of time. Standing the test of time starts with that word asset, as I alluded to earlier. All right. Now look at that contract on the bottom left, asset base. We'll start our journey there, right? So think of that as a collection of assets that have been consigned to the platform. And that's represented by the big vertical box here. Let me get my cursor here. That's your assets. Now, the first thing an asset has is creators, right? It could have one or more creators. Guess what? Those creators tie back into the creator base that conforms to the W3C verified credentials model. So an asset is going to have creators, which is just a lookup into the creator base. But talking about the metadata, so the metadata is going to be different depending on the type of artwork it is, right? So if the asset is an artwork, like a visual art, then it's going to have linked art as the metadata standard. If it's music, the standard is called MEAD. That's out there. If it's a movie, there's other standards, etc. So depending on which one it is, we'll implement those standards, but it will always be a standard. It'll always be the same standard that is used by hundreds, maybe even millions of other people. We are not going to reinvent the standard. We want our platform to be conformant with what's out there, so people look at it and go, okay, yeah, I'm familiar with this. This works. So we're going to start off with artworks, visual arts, and then we're going to progress into music and movies and books and things like that. But we're using visual arts as a proving ground for everything. So the metadata that we have will be on chain. When it's consigned to us, it will conform to the linked art standard. So you're going to ask the question, why? Why do we absolutely need the standards compliant metadata? And I've hinted a bit about this, but let's just be very clear about it. One of the most important reasons why we want standards compliant metadata is that it makes art discoverable using industry standard tools. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of tools out there that conform to standards. And if our art consignment registry conforms to that with the metadata, guess what? All the art that's in there is discoverable. You can search by year created. You can search by birthplace of the artist. You can search by medium used, etc. And it's all standard, so it just fits into place. The second point why it's important is, we've all heard this narrative, this phrase. It's just a JPEG. Well, it's not just a JPEG. If you are conforming to certain standards, both quality and data attribute related. Now it's an artwork. It has provenance. It has creation details, and it has other domain specific data that adds value to that. So it's not just here's a JPEG that's on the blockchain. If we do that, we are no better than anybody else. We have not moved the needle at all. We are going to not only move the needle, we are going to blow away the instrument. We are going to go well beyond what anyone has ever imagined so far. So with the standards compliant metadata, we move in that direction. There's another reason why we want that. What this enables is the possibility for bulk licensing and monetization, because when you can easily query a blockchain and say, give me all artworks that are about the ocean, that are created in a lean clear style of drawing, you can instantly get that. And then you can do bulk licensing and bulk monetization. This opens up the possibility of us to go beyond a collector buying one piece of artwork to an industry licensing 100,000 artworks so that they can put it on, curtains or pillowcases or on cars even, or shoes, or whatever consumer product that can be personalized. If you want to be able to do it at scale, you need artworks at scale. And this allows the possibility to easily query and license at bulk. So this is why the standards compliant metadata is extremely important. All right, so we've gotten through 3 benefits for creators. Let's now look at the next one, which is cryptographic media signing. A sip of chai, and then we continue. All right, so this is a mouthful. Cryptographic media signing. What does it mean? Well, just like you might sign a legal document, right? You put your signature on it with pen. The same thing is possible, but cryptographically with your private key. So when you have a cryptographic wallet, it has a private key, and you can sign a piece of data, and then any other entity can verify that you signed it with just using a public key. Guess what? Anytime you do a crypto transaction, you're doing that. You're signing a transaction and authorizing perhaps the movement of funds from your account to another account. Anytime you buy something with your crypto wallet, you're signing a transaction. Well, guess what? You can also sign that a media asset is, let's see, we got a little prompt up here. I'm not sure why that appeared. So we can also you can also sign a media asset using your private key. And what that does is communicate that you are the author of that asset. Now, of course, you can do that with any asset, but what we are saying is in this system, based on the rules we've created and the policies we've created, when you consign an artwork over into the asset registry, you, by signing it, say I'm the author, and it also gives a timestamp when you signed it, right? So now anyone can verify that you are in fact the creator. There's another reason why it's important to sign. If an asset is tampered with, if even that single tiny byte in it is changed, the signature becomes invalid. So it's an easy way to see if something is spoofed, forged, etc. And this ensures that it can't be. If it is, you'll know instantly, right? It also provides something called non-repudiation. What that means is once you have signed something, you can't say that, well, I didn't sign that. It's not possible. My signature was forged. It's impossible, because that would mean you gave up your private key to someone else. And you don't do that, right? You don't give your private key to someone else. And so this ensures that creators, when they sign an asset, they take accountability for it. That yes, I signed it and I posted it on there. So these are important aspects of cryptographic media signing. Let's go on to the next one now, which is durable media storage. So we are at what? The fifth benefit for creators. Now, in the world of NFTs today, as I mentioned earlier, the actual media asset is stored somewhere else. And after you buy it, it's possible for the artist or the creator to go and change that. It's also possible that the asset disappears completely. Why? Let's talk about how IPFS works. IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System. Grandiose name, I know that, but it's considered durable storage. The way it works is anyone can place any file they want on any IPFS node. So, you can just download the software and become an IPFS node. It's very easy to do. Now, your file, once added to IPFS, will continue to exist as long as at least one IPFS node out there has it, the term is called pinned, has it pinned. The moment the last IPFS node that had your asset, your file pinned, deletes it, your asset is lost forever. So if your asset happens to be an NFT and the image or the movie or whatever associated with it, if it goes off from the last server, it's gone forever. We can do better than that. We want to create super durable media storage. And so what we're going to do is that if an asset is consigned to our consignment registry, the DAO will take on responsibility to make sure that there is always an IPFS node available for it. How? Well, we will pay our validators to add to their server where they're already hosting, right, the protocol, IPFS capability. Not all of them will want to do it. Some of them will say, oh yeah, that sounds good. I just beef it up a little bit more and I'll run an IPFS node also. So by doing that, we can take advantage of our 500 validators and create what will arguably be one of the world's most resilient IPFS networks. So by doing that, the DAO can ensure that our commitment around the asset consignments are there. They are there in perpetuity. When you put an asset onto our platform, it is there forever. So this is very important. And in addition to giving validators an additional income stream, it also ensures that we can truly say that when you put an asset on the Vitruveo blockchain, it's there forever, So that's an important thing. All right. So we've now gotten through 5 of the benefits, and now we come on to what is last, but probably the most important and the most significant and the most innovative of the benefits that we are going to give to creators. And that is flexible on-chain licensing. Let's talk about it. So what does it mean? Well, we are developing a model where every asset that is consigned to our protocol can have one or more licenses. It needs at least one. You can't have an asset consigned here with 0 licenses. What's the point of it? Don't put it on the blockchain if you don't intend for anyone to access and use it, right? Each of these licenses defines the rights that will be given to whoever licenses it, which is the licensee. It also talks about how many available units there are and the unit price. So now we are addressing one of the problems I raised earlier is there's no on-chain licensing for NFTs, etc. It's really each instance, you got to figure out what you want to do and do it every time on every marketplace. Very, very loose and very complex and just not a nice and efficient system. So with our licensing model, each asset can have one or more licenses, and that'll define, okay, this license allows the licensee to do XYZ. Now, how the heck are we going to communicate that? Well, I'm going to get back to my favorite term, standards-based. There is a standard out there called Creative Commons, which is essentially a public good. They have created licenses for just about every scenario, and they are pretty much the gold standard when it comes to content. So we are going to have the creators use Creative Commons licenses to communicate what one can and cannot do with their intellectual property. But we'll also give them the ability to define their own custom licenses as well. So these points make up the flexible on-chain licensing, but there's a lot more to it. Let's deep dive into it now. So going back to my asset data model, if you recollect, an asset is stored in the asset base smart contract, which is our registry, right? And so far we've tackled creators and we've tackled metadata. Now we bolt onto that licenses. So with the asset, a creator can define any number of licenses and say that, okay, looking on the left there, license A, it's a CC by SA. So if you go and look on the Creative Commons website, you will see that the CC by SA is a very specific type of license. It's got very specific legalese. It's got specific rights. And that's what you're communicating with just that short string on there. It also says that there are 20 editions and it's 2 Vitrus for each. So here we go. On-chain, through our asset consignment registry, we have given a creator the ability to define and communicate to other smart contracts the exact terms and conditions under which they can obtain a license for that artwork. No humans needed, no paperwork needed, no applications needed, all smart contract to smart contract. This is a huge deal, folks. So any smart contract can ping our asset consignment registry and request a license. The registry will check if a license is available. So, in my example, it says 20 editions. What if all 20 have been sold? Then 0 are available. So it would fail, right? But if there were any available, it would then check that the appropriate payment has been provided. The ACR knows how much should be paid for that particular license, and you need to supply that when a smart contract calls in for that. If all the checks pass, guess what? The ACR mints a new NFT on the fly and issues a license to the caller, making them a licensee. This model allows anyone on the planet to create a dApp. They can deploy it on Vitruveo, and they can make all the artwork searchable. So maybe you're an expert in oceans, right? You can create a dApp about oceans. Put your knowledge on there. You can query the ACR for different types of oceans using the metadata and create a beautiful store. You can mark up the prices for it. And as long as when the buyer passes the amount required by the creator, you can be issued a license, or you can issue a license to your buyer. So this is dynamic minting. There's no minting until there's a buyer with money who says, I want this. This is on-demand minting of consigned resources. It is new. It doesn't exist anywhere on any blockchain or any smart contract today. We will radically transform how artwork is licensed using this dynamic mint-on-demand on-chain licensing workflow. This applies to all types of assets, not just visual artworks, music tracks, movies, books, you name it. It's a generic model which is highly flexible and which creates the commerce foundation for an infinite number of possibilities. This is what will make our chain, Vitruveo, extremely valuable to the world. We execute this, we get creators on here, and this model works. If you think about the first mover advantages that companies had in Web 2.0, in bringing about the e-commerce revolution, we're going to do that. So think Amazon, think companies like that. We are creating a model for that is on-chain and provides economic opportunity for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. So let's review the benefits. 6 benefits. Early adopter rewards, creator verification. We want to know that the creators are who they say they are. Standards compliance, metadata, make it easy for artworks and other assets to be discoverable. Cryptographic media signing to have authenticity and to have non-repudiation. Durable media storage. So if an artwork's in our registry, it's there in perpetuity. And finally, the part I love the most, flexible on-chain licensing, which brings open a whole new domain of business possibilities. Okay, so we've talked about benefits for creators, right? I also want to spend just a few minutes talking about the benefits for buyers. Let's highlight those. So they actually dovetail very nicely with some of the things we've talked about. So the first thing is, if you're an art buyer, with the metadata, we've given you a versatile art discovery system. We have increased your trust by providing verified creators. Just like we have rewards for creators, we will also give rewards to buyers. So for example, if you are a frequent buyer, like just think about it, a frequent shopper, a frequent airline miles, frequent hotels, etc. When you buy repeatedly, they reward you with points, etc. Well, we're going to reward people with tokens. So if they buy repeatedly, they get some token benefit, and those tokens rebase. So they get buyer rewards. For buyers, we have created a model where the creators can have very flexible licensing models. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not just it's one of one edition. It's 100 Vitruvios and that's it. That's all you can buy. Creators have the ability to create many different licensing models to attract many different types of buyers. So the buyer who is looking for a way to get one-of-one art on their consumer product has a different price point in mind. The unit economics is different, right? They don't want to spend $100 on each unit. They might be thinking a penny or a nickel or whatever, because they are thinking a million units, etc. So if you're a creator, you need to appeal to those also, because there is money to be made in volume, right? So flexible licensing is important. The last two we haven't seen yet, but I put them on here because they're important. We want to attract buyers who are not yet in the crypto ecosystem. And so what we will do as a platform is we will provide a non-custodial wallet. So when you use things like MetaMask or Rainbow or Trust or any of the hundreds of thousands of wallets that are out there right now, those are custodial wallets because you know the private key for the account. However, there is also a class of wallets called a non-custodial wallet. And typically a non-custodial wallet works with an email address. Email address people are familiar with, right? They know how to use that everywhere. So we're going to make it easy for a buyer who just has an email address to come to our platform and buy an artwork with just their email. And what we will do is we will hold that artwork in a wallet for them on their behalf. Someday in the future, when they have a custodial wallet like a MetaMask or something, they can just go to the non-custodial wallet and click transfer, provide the address, and poof, it's gone. The resource is gone. So this will make it attractive for people who don't understand crypto, who don't want the friction, etc., to come to our platform. The last thing that we're going to provide as a benefit for buyers is credit card payments. If you are a developer in this space right now, you know how incredibly difficult it is to integrate credit card payments with your dApp. It's really difficult. What we are going to do at the protocol level is we are going to guarantee people, developers who are building on our platform, credit card access. So instead of each developer trying to go and sign up with Stripe or whoever, we are just going to negotiate terms with the gateway, and we will assume part of that risk as the protocol, and we will make it possible for dApp developers that go through some qualification process. It's not just going to be a free-for-all, but they go through some qualification process, and we will make credit card payments available to them. So this makes it possible to incentivize people who are not yet in crypto to get on board and use a payment mechanism they're used to in order to transact commercially on our platform. So those are the benefits for buyers. Now, let's move on to the rest of our solution. When I started off with this, I said the solution is in 2 tiers, right? Protocol, which has 2 parts, the built-in features and the special smart contracts. Now, after 38 slides, I hope you feel confident about the fact that our protocol is going to have some kick-ass features and some kick-ass smart contracts in order to make this happen. But let's talk about the rest of it, ecosystem. So we are not going to be able to have creators come on board, etc., unless they can interact with the platform. Now, so far I've talked about smart contracts and things like that, right? And protocol. That's kind of like the underpinning, the foundation level. But if there are not apps that people can pull up in their browser or on their mobile phone as an app, it's opaque. It might as well not exist. So this is why it's important for us that we provide some core and ecosystem dApps. The analogy for it exists. When you get an Android phone or you get an iPhone, you take photos, those photos end up in a Photos app. It's built in. It's guaranteed to be built in, because how else could you manage your photos, right? So that Photos app, the calculator app, the alarm clock app, you could go find alternatives on there, but the platform always comes with them. So those are core and ecosystem dApps. That's what those are. So we have the same thing. We want to attract creators. So we, as a DAO, are going to maintain certain dApps and provide them out of the box to creators and make sure that they are well managed, well designed, user friendly, and just overall address the needs of creators. We're also going to have a lot of programs and incentives to welcome creators into the space. So that's what I mean by when I say ecosystem. So let's get into core and ecosystem dApps first. So the core dApps, as I mentioned, are integral to the success of the Vitruveo protocol. They are fully managed by the platform team of the DAO Technology Council. That's the place where the people who will manage it will be. So I'd like to introduce you to 3 core dApps: the Vitru Studio, the Vitru Hub, and the Vitru Stream. These 3 are super critical to our success. Let's look at them. Vitru Studio is a dApp that is used by creators to register their assets to the asset consignment registry. Now you know what an asset is. You know what the consignment registry is. The question is, how's a creator going to register the asset? Well, they need an app for that, right? And that's Vitru Studio. So in addition to allowing them to manage the licenses, so for example, they could go in there and add a license. Maybe they want to change a license, if it hasn't yet been executed. They want to update the metadata potentially. So there are certain things that will be allowed and certain things that won't be allowed, because at the end of the day, there are certain things that should be immutable, and those will be immutable. But then there's certain things that could be changed, and we'll allow that to change. So think of Vitru Studio as the creator's environment for managing their presence in Vitruveo with all their assets, etc. Part of Vitru Studio is also the ability to define new and interesting and interactive and dynamic types of collectibles. We don't want to just continue to have sort of a static approach to collectibles, like here's an artwork or here's a video, that's it. What we want to do is do more interactive and interesting things. I'll give you an example. Like, what if a group of creators got together and they put in, like, let's say there's 10 of them, and they put in 10 photos as part of like the asset collection, right? And their license model is that you can buy any 4 of them for a certain price. So what would the UI for that look like? Well, at the time the buyer was buying, they could go and choose which ones they wanted and then hit mint. So that's a dynamic type of collectible. That doesn't exist anywhere right now, but we could make that happen. So that's what I mean by interactive and dynamic types of collectibles. We want to innovate and have new and exciting ways in which people can consume artworks. All right, the next core dApp is called Vitru Hub. So Vitru Studio is for creators. Vitru Hub is for buyers and appreciators and collectors of art. Think of it as an application that uses faceted search. By faceted search, it's just a fancy way of saying, search based on the different metadata fields, like search by category, genre, country, style, time, whatever. So being able to search by that to discover artworks and then buy them. So think of Vitru Hub as sort of the sales engine for the whole registry of artworks, the entire pool of artworks that are there. Anyone can go in there, search them very granularly, not just by keywords, by very specific things, and maybe even take that whole collection of results that came up and buy them at one shot, one click, boom, done. You've bought all the ones that matched your search. So this is an exciting tool. Nothing like this exists right now. All the marketplaces, etc., have a one kind of model where artists list something and a collector comes and buys it. They don't have anything that can do it in bulk like this, where you can choose licenses, you can choose facets, query it, and then make a decision based upon that. And so Vitru Hub will be unique and interesting in that way. And the third one, and really, honestly, my most desired kind of dApp is Vitru Stream. So I'm a prolific sort of NFT collector. I have probably 6,000 or so of them. And it's really challenging to be able to display them on screens like the one behind me, because we don't have good metadata, we don't have good tools. And I'm determined that with Vitru Stream, we're going to address that problem. So what Vitru Stream will do is serve many different industry and use cases in bringing to life the Spotify for artworks. Imagine being able to create playlists for artworks. Whatever you want, like just go choose the parameters, just like you go to Spotify and say, artist, album, genre, whatever. You can choose whatever combination of things you want, generate a playlist, and have it displayed on your Apple TV or your Google TV or any kind of dedicated display. There are now many, many different NFT displays coming into the market. We will provide a mechanism for people to subscribe to streams of artworks and get glorious, beautiful artwork on their walls in their living room. So Samsung has a nice device called the Frame. It's a very sort of artwork-like device. It mounts flat on your wall. It even has a beautiful wooden frame. I have it, but I look at the subscription they have at artwork, and it is, first of all, the UI is terrible, and it is really, really not that exciting. I dream of the day where I can just have a Vitru Stream hooked up so my living room can display amazing artwork from artists all over the world with an on-the-fly kind of licensing model. So that's what Vitru Stream will be. We will be able to have as customers, office complexes, hotels, any kind of scenarios where you want to display art in different kind of locales. And you want to be able to do it in a very flexible manner and in a very cost-efficient manner, and without having to go through all kinds of complicated legal contracts and etc. Come to Vitru Stream, make a few clicks. We'll have an Apple TV app. We'll have a Google app on the Play Store, etc. You can even just download the app and use it, and it gets billed straight to your Apple subscription or whatever. That's the kind of thing that is possible because we have the asset consignment registry with a flexible licensing model. This Vitru Stream wouldn't be possible without it, but it is the result of that. All right, so those are sort of the core dApps. Let's look at the ecosystem dApps. So there are 3 ecosystem dApps that we are going to bring. 2 of them, well, all 3 of them are already done and working. We just have to shape them a bit. The first one is called Poet, the second one Art Packs, and the third one dApp Starter. Let's look at all of them. So Poet stands for Proof of Engagement Token. You might have heard of POAP on Ethereum and other networks. So Poet is the answer to that on Vitruveo. We want to make it easy for any event and community organizers to reward their audience. So, people showing up on the stream right now, it would be great if, Chris or the others issued a token. You attended a stream on this day. And if you attend 10 streams or whatever, you might be eligible for a cooler badge or something like that. So it's gamifying attendance. It's gamifying and rewarding your audience for doing desirable things. So with Proof of Engagement Token, we've taken the POAP model and we put it on steroids. We've first of all added a programmatic API to that. We've also added secure content to it. So let's say that you host a meetup and people show up when they get back, they get a poet dropped into their wallet, and that poet allows them to go visit your website and look at a premium video that you have. That's content exclusively available to them. Or you could make it where you've attended maybe some event, and as a result, you are now eligible to attend another event. And so you just go with your phone and you scan that you have that poet, and you're in. So token gating is what it's called, is a big thing, and we will make it possible out of the box, very simple, very easy, and scale it up. So this is going to be a great feature and will help us drive more and more users to use the platform. Remember, we've got the rebasing that is transaction driven. So we want to create opportunities for more people to use the platform and not just transfer funds back and forth, to actually engage. So Poet is one of those things where we can essentially have academia, business, consumers, all kinds of sports, entertainment, etc., use this in order to engage. We obviously want to start with the creator ecosystem, so museums, galleries, etc. If you came for an art exhibition, you get a poet, and now that gives you a discount on something, things like that. The next app is Artpacks. Now, Artpacks was launched recently. It's launched through my other DAO, Nifty Dreams. And what we are trying to do there is redefine how art is purchased and experienced by both experienced and inexperienced collectors. So what we did was we took the NBA Top Shot model of packaging sort of NFTs into a secret pack, and you don't know what you have until you open the pack. So that's Artpacks. So starting with drop number 7, which I believe is mid-October, we're going to bring Artpacks to Vitruveo. And the first drop is going to be one called Womanhood, which is focused on women in the artworks. So we'll start there, and we make it easy and exciting for art to be collected. Well, guess what? Artpacks relies on the consignment model, so everything fits in beautifully, and we'll bring in a new way for people to learn about and collect art. So it's going to be as simple as come to the Artpack site when there's a drop, whip out your credit card, buy a pack, and you get 5 amazing artworks dropped into your wallet. And then we'll have some challenges there. So maybe you have to collect 5 artworks from artists from South America or something like that. So then you go and buy more packs and do a little bit of gamification. You might do a little bit of trading, etc., things like that. So we allow that to happen. And last but not the least, we do want to make it easy for developers to build on our platform. So DAppStarter is a code generator. And what it'll do is it'll allow us to take a modular approach to produce full stack code and tooling, so developers can quickly build their dApp and extend its functionality. So we'll provide all the modules. They can put together a dApp very quickly to interact with the asset consignment registry. So anyone can build a dApp that's for buying artworks or streaming artworks and things like that. So that's what the DAppStarter platform will do. All right. So now coming to the latter part of the ecosystem, which is programs and incentives. This is the part that we're going to give a lot of thought through the ecosystem council. So I don't have a whole lot on it today. I have one slide, but I do want to talk about it. So as a DAO, we will design, plan, fund, and manage various programs, either directly or in collaboration with other organizations, to advance creator interests globally. So there are hundreds of nonprofits, hundreds of for-profits, museums, galleries, etc. There's all kinds of events, etc. We will be welcoming to them, and we will collaborate with them and have joint ventures where we create programs to incentivize artists, creators, etc., to join our platform. Those could take the form of grants, workshops, exhibitions, meetups, conferences, just challenges on X, scholarships to creators, etc. So there's a lot of different tools we'll have at our disposal to incentivize creators. We will set aside significant token allocations to subsidize and incentivize creators to onboard to Vitruveo. You have to think of this as like a flywheel. So as you know, with a flywheel, it takes a little bit of time to get going. But once it gets going, a flywheel just picks up energy and goes faster and faster and faster. We are creating that flywheel for creators. So initially, to get that flywheel going, we have to incentivize people with token allocations. And so we've set those aside We'll subsidize them and we'll get them on board. But once they see the value and the benefits of the platform, they'll stay, and then they'll spend money, and then they'll call their friends. And that makes the flywheel go faster and faster. And that's kind of what we are doing. All right, now let's switch gears a little bit and address two very important questions. I get asked this all the time. And the questions are about, well, what's the big deal? Why is Vitruveo so different? So let's answer those questions. So I answer the question in two ways. I answer it first in regard to what's the protocol about. That's everything on chain, right? The blockchain. So guess what? I just talked about a lot of those things. Let's re-emphasize them. Creator verification. This is important. This is different. It doesn't exist anywhere else. Early adopter rewards, or rebasing as you know it. Important. Standards compliant metadata. Doesn't exist anywhere else. We'll be the first to do it. An asset consignment registry, a global, let's say universal asset consignment registry for all media types maintained at the blockchain level. Licensing that's fluid, dynamic, and flexible. And payments that are also flexible. You don't have to just do crypto payments. You can do credit card payments. Licensee tracking. I didn't talk much about this, but because the asset consignment registry issues licenses, we also have a mechanism to easily track if someone is a licensee of a particular asset. It's a big deal, and it makes our protocol unique and very different. So that's on chain. But remember, when I started off, I said that our solution is not just on chain. It cannot be just on chain. It is ecosystem wide. And so the second half of this question can be answered by, how is this different in terms of the ecosystem? Well, it's some of the things I just talked about. We're going to have creator incentives and token grants. We will have workshops and programs to onboard organizations like museums, galleries, etc., to help them understand how Web3 works and how they can bring their creators onto our platform. We'll do that for independent creators also. We'll have workshops for them. We have a dedicated DAO council for creators. So that's it. That council is completely and totally focused on creators. This is not something you'll find anywhere else. This is what makes us unique and different. We will also make, through the DAO, dedicated marketing resources available for creators. Marketing is one of the biggest challenges that creators face. They don't know how to do it. They don't have the money for it, but it's essential in order for them to succeed. Well, we'll help them out with it. We will provide shared marketing resources. And finally, we will host exhibitions, events, and conferences, as I alluded to earlier, in order to essentially get the message out there about what we are doing and why people should come and build on our platform. So that, folks, is how we are going to build and promote and grow the creator economy. What I presented to you here today is a complete blueprint for exactly how we are going to do it. Now we're going to execute on it piece by piece, step by step, dap by dap, code by line by line of code. We're going to work on this and get it done. So this is how we will radically transform how artwork is licensed and change the world. So that's my presentation for tomorrow. I invite our hosts back on here so we can talk about this a bit and see what their reactions are to this.
I'll let everybody bring themselves up. I don't know who's ready or not, but Nik, seriously, so basically you took everything that's been in your head for the last, most of your life, and you put it into an hour and 20-minute presentation. Man, talk about there's so much to talk about here, and there were so many things. I found myself, and I know people want to say stuff, but I found myself going, oh, I really like that. And then you'd go on to something else. I'm like, but I like that better. Oh, wait a minute. That's okay. I have to be honest. It might come off as like a fanboy or something like that, but I didn't find any part of your presentation that I was like, wait a minute, what's he talking about? So I'm very impressed, and I'm blown away. I think it's great. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What you guys got anything, or are you guys just speechless? You're like,
No, yeah, I was taking notes. I was jotting things down as things popped out at me. One of the things that great presentation, Nick. For as Chris said, you obviously put a lot of time into this. It's very, very. I mean, if you walk away from this thing going, wait, what did he talk about? Go back and watch it, and you'll get it. I posted a comment earlier because I had asked you what's the mission, what's the vision statement, right? Now I see your vision. Now I absolutely see your vision, wholeheartedly. I see the big picture now. These are things that you couldn't really say weeks ago because we had to get through some crap first. But I see the vision now. I know the mission, right? And that's how I like to coin it. So, you talked about the asset consignment fees and how you gave some examples of domain registration. Boom! I'm just thinking revenue right there. I love how it's per assets. That's revenue stream created. You know that because you're basically you were given kind of a we're giving you, hey, here's the blockchain. How are you going to make it? How are you going to give us utility? And I think that's that's just one thing that you mentioned. You talked about the media storage, the setting up our validators as storage. I mean, I'm all in for that. I mean, that was one of the things that really caught my attention as well, because that's definitely a need for that. So that's another way to generate some revenue, at least for the node holders. I don't know how, I guess you'll get into the economics in that regard. And then you talked about the licensing, the flexibility on chain licensing. I love that. I mean, I can just go over all these things that I jotted down, and then I'll let the other guys talk. But no, I'm excited. I really, really am excited about what the future holds for Vitruveo. So thank you for that presentation, and thank you for allowing me to be here to actually sit down and hear you lay it out. I can't wait. So can't wait.
All I have to say is thank you, Nick. What a breath of fresh air with a presentation like that, how professional it was, organized, thought out. I mean, I know exactly what to expect now from this blockchain and where we're going, where we're headed, and I'm excited. And just a breath of fresh air. That's all I got to say. Everything the guys say, there wasn't a part where I was just sitting there like going, I don't know about this. I was like, okay, makes sense. Awesome. Very well thought out, and I loved it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm big on standards, and I feel like standards exist for a reason. And when you can create business systems that conform to standards, magic happens.
Yeah. Magic happens. Because the standards are already widely adopted. There's already use case for them. It's not like you're reinventing the wheel here. Innovation isn't reinventing the wheel. It's making it faster, right? In a sense, right? Make it spin a little faster, however you want to repackage it. No, I like how you're going out using things that are already in place, the standards, as you say, and you're bringing them in, and you're building our chain around the standards. And there is absolutely a need for the licensing. I just see licensing. That's what I walk away from. Licensing, yes, the creator chain, but licensing that can go into so many different areas, in the space. So it's for those of you who just caught this, go back and watch it if you know what he's talking about. This is good for us. This is exactly as just what Greek was saying. Thank you for a fresh of a breath there, because we're just tired of hearing, it's going to go to the moon. You're not telling us we're going to go to the moon. You're actually saying, look, I have a plan to build a ship, and it's a ship that's needed. And if you guys want to join me, here we go. And I'm down. I'm absolutely down for this chain. I was telling NR privately in a message. He and I were just going back and forth, like, dude, can you hear this guy? Can you believe this? Can you believe this crap? Because we're taking notes. So I'm excited. I am. I haven't been this excited about crypto since Bitcoin went to 20K. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt, Nick. And my biggest takeaway and what I really loved was at the end. Let's change the world. And I love that statement. Again, this has real world use case, and it's going to change the space. I can see it. I'm personally going to have to, and I would suggest that everybody goes back, and even if you were paying close attention and taking notes, watch it again, maybe even 3 or 4 times, just to take all the little things away, because there was just so much packed in there. And great presentation. Just like Greek said, thank you very much for jumping in here. And you didn't have to do this. You could have just walked away and said, hey guys, I don't want to take this on, but you took on the challenge. You took it head on. and you definitely rose to the occasion.
Yeah, my takeaway is I like to that you can't just copy somebody else's NFT.
Yeah.
You know that you have the original NFT, you have the license, you have the signature. Also, like the stream.
Yeah, stream's
A
cool,
lot
right?
of people can't want to show their NFTs besides showing them in their phone. Have something like you have in the background, and you be able to present your NFTs, put it on your TV, just have it on pass. And then, like I said, this is the real reason why we should have won the Innovative Blockchain of the Year for stuff like this.
Yeah. They say that the most successful companies are when sort of the entrepreneurs build something to scratch their own itch. It's a problem they have.
Yeah.
I want art streams on my walls. I really desperately want
That's how
it.
it goes.
And that does not exist. And so we have to build it.
No, I like that, scratching your own itch. And you're right. Anything that you have, a pen, notebook, I mean, everything that's around us was invented. Somebody conceptually thought about it, and it became
Nick's
a reality.
posts about he's out there, his doodles and stuff like that. That's Fowler. You're the resident NFT kind of guy, I guess. With around these parts, you're the NFT guy. What did you think about the things that Nick was talking about? I mean, me, I see it. I like it. I like what he was saying. Does that make you feel more secure and happy with the fact that you create your NFTs? You're protected, and this will be something that'll be good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was awesome with the signing. I think that, like, for me, just personally, I think that would be just awesome because I put so much out, right? And just a lot of people, you start to see a lot of avatars running around, right? And it'd be great for people to like really just like know that their NFTs are like belong to them, because that's what it is. Once these NFTs leave my possession, they're not my possessions anymore. They're not my right. I don't have any rights to them anymore. It's whoever owns them. That's how I want it to be. I want it to where if it's one of a one, right? It's one thing I've made. I'll never make another print or mint of that. I want the customer, the holder, I want them to feel like, like I got this from Fowler X amount of years ago.
Fowler right here, y'all.
Right.
Got this from Fowler.
Right. I got that, and it's signed, and it's authentic. It's authentic. No one can go to Pride and say, "Hey, I got that same dragon right there." Like, you like, no, buddy, where's the signature? Where's the signature? Where's the authenticity of it? Just like baseball cards, the old school baseball cards are like that. You have to prove that they're authentic. You couldn't just like, hey, I got this card. Anybody could have printed up a card, So I think it's amazing. I like, even for a project like Guys in Gaming, this is a creator, more, like artists and stuff like that. But even as a game project owner, I feel like, because I deal so heavily on NFTs at the beginning of my project here, going into eventually game development, all this stuff that I'm creating right now, I can feel so much more just at ease that it's like it's protected. This my work is protected across the board.
All right, I want to. I think everybody's had an opportunity to speak. Confirmant, you got anything that you want to say? I want to jump to some questions and comments that we starred throughout. I think some of these were answered by Nick, but we got some of them starting to roll in. So if you're okay with it, Nick, I'd like to go through as many questions as we have out there.
Yep.
You ready, Confirmant? You got anything you want to say, Confirmant, before I start? Or
it's interesting to just see just how like thought out this whole process was, just in comparison to what we have seen. I'm definitely, I got to take a lot of it in, because being an artist myself, I'm looking at this and probably seeing it in the same lens as Fowler does, just the opportunities that lie within this ecosystem that you're trying to create. I think I need more time to process it all myself. So I think it's going to be good just to hear all these questions and see if they address any of the questions I have.
Kelly Production says, Nick, I used I'm used to metadata being written in the markup, front end and back end. Like you can write any metadata you want. Is there an automated type of metadata that gets parsed?
Yeah, what a wonderful question. So, just to give people a little bit of context and background on metadata, every time you take a picture, uh, there is metadata stored in that JPEG image itself. It's called EXIF. Um, and when you upload to social media, they scrub it because otherwise people will be able to tell exactly where your home is and stuff like that. You don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to be standards compliant, right, with linked art. So we'll extract some of the metadata that aligns with EXIF fields with the linked art fields. But for the most part, it's going to have to be stuff that the creator provides, because it's not stuff that will automatically be embedded in the document. In the asset. So things like what is the birthplace of the creator, or what country are they from? If they want to provide it, like a lot of these fields are optional. But think about it this way: when you go to a museum, think about that card you're seeing there. It's got a title, and it's got the birth and death of this, and it says this person was born here, and they created this artwork when they were in their sour mood or whatever, because something, like you see all that, right? And then they have the medium that was used, etc. That is not stuff that you can infer automatically. The creator has to provide that. So one of the things we are also going to do to back this up, in addition to providing the metadata in an accessible manner, I'm going to go a little tech here, so forgive me for that. About a decade ago, Adobe produced a format called XMP, Extensible Metadata Protocol. It then became an ISO, International Standards Organization standard, and now it is possible to embed in any file, whether it's a PNG, a GIF, a JPEG, whatever format you want. You can embed an XMP packet in there that has all this metadata and custom metadata also. So we'll be doing that. So not only will we be having metadata available, but we will embed with XMP inside the media file itself. So even if you're looking at that media file, like let's say you licensed an artwork, you don't have to use any of our tools. Just with the file itself, you go put it in a standard tool, whether you open it up in, I don't know, Photoshop, Illustrator, or even Preview on the Mac, the metadata will be available to you. So cool. In terms of automation, we'll get some things, like, for example, we can get dimensions and all that. That's easy, right? But there are a lot of things in linked art that absolutely must be provided by the creator. So sorry for going off a tangent, but
that's a good explanation. I mean, you really broke it down how it's actually going to the embedding and everything.
Yeah,
and that's what we need to understand, because people are going to ask, so what does your blockchain do? And someone that knows about metadata is going to be able to good explanation. It's very good. But I'm excited to hear that we're actually we're using the things that are already available to us.
Yeah.
The standards. It's good stuff.
And Nick, will they have a dashboard where creators will be able to put that in, and that's
that's Vitru Studio.
Yeah, that's what
Vitru Studio. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Next question we got is Nick. Just curious: are both metadata and licenses stored in blockchain? If so, are owners allowed to update those for any reason?
Yeah. So not all the metadata will be stored on chain, but key pieces of it that are important to transactional integrity will be stored on chain. The reason we don't do that is because the most expensive thing in blockchain is storage space. Otherwise, you would just put the media right on the blockchain and not use IPFS or something like that. So key pieces of the metadata will be stored on there. So can you update it? So there are things that you should be able to update, but there are things that would, from a commerce standpoint, be terrible for you to update. So for example, if your asset had already been licensed, it wouldn't make sense for you to go and change the license agreement after that, right? Like, people have already agreed to it. You shouldn't be able to change it. But it might be okay for you to change the number of editions, perhaps. You might say, okay, I'm going to freeze it now, and that's it, no more, or something like that. So you might have made a typo in maybe the description, which is very benign. You could go change that potentially. But I think what will happen there is there will be certain fields that are sacred, that they are immutable. You cannot change them. And then there are others that would be okay to change. You can look at systems like Twitter or X, etc., on your profile, right? There's some things you go and do You do it, you're done. You cannot change it ever again. But there are some things that you're allowed to update, and so it'll be exactly like that. So for the most part, think of things as being immutable as much as possible, but a few things you might be allowed to update.
Next question we got was from Kelly Productions again. Nik Kalyani just came in and dropped his genius on us. I'm floored, to be honest.
And you're not the only one, Kelly.
Uh,
I think we all are.
and if you guys have the opportunity, I put the merch stores of everybody that I knew in the comments earlier. If you have one, I didn't put it in there. Just send it to me. We'll put it in there. Try to help everybody out. So Vitruveo is essentially the gallery, the library, the studio, the bank, the client base. This could be a massive ecosystem. So, I mean, I think I started that comment because I kind of liked the way that he was summing it up there. So, do you disagree with any of that, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we are creating a vertically integrated ecosystem, just like Apple, right? Just bring the creators and the buyers. We're going to provide everything else. The creators and the buyers, we make it welcoming for them and provide all the tools for them.
This is by far the best presentation I've seen in DeFi space. Nick will lead the community to success. As an investor, I will support his vision.
Thank you.
Next one we have is Nick. You were on fire tonight. What you presented was a vision, and I'm fully on board. Let's see.
Appreciate your support.
Yeah, there are tons of these out there. These were just ones that I randomly was starring, and a couple other people starred. So it's not showing favoritism. It's just that there's so many of them out there that. And then we have questions coming in a little bit later, so I wanted to highlight these early. I feel like I'm watching Steve Jobs talk about his vision to the team for the first time. Nick, you're fire.
December 10th, 2007, Steve Jobs presented three things. He said an internet device, a phone, and a music device. Three things. And then he said, it's the iPhone.
I remember that. I remember that keynote.
Yes,
yeah,
one of the most brilliant keynotes ever. And
it was bittersweet for me because I hadn't bought any Apple stock yet, and
yeah.
I wasn't in a position to. But I had told my dad to do. He's like, "Nah, like Dad, he's coming out with a phone." Nah, and then of course he did. My dad didn't buy it. Apple went through the roof. But anyways,
well, guess which video I watched 5 times yesterday?
That one.
Right,
that exact one. Yeah.
Yes.
You're not wearing a black turtleneck, so yeah, maybe you should have watched it 6 times.
Yeah. Well, your thing is going to be your colorful hats. So that
my hat and my hoodie. That's it. And people haven't seen my lower half, but I always wear red shoes, red sneakers. So
red sneakers.
That's cool.
Yeah. Shadow X says, "Thank you, Nick, for the excellent presentation. You reunited all of us as one family."
Thank you.
And J-Mass says, "I'm just exhausted, speechless, simple. Thank you, Nick." And then we have Commander 605. Nick, how would buyers purchase and take possession of artwork purchased? And how would music recording artists use the platform?
Yeah, what a wonderful question. All right. So the application, you know how on Windows or on Mac, there is a generic application that is there for certain purposes, like there's a browser or there's a calculator, etc. So you can think of Vitruveo as that generic application we provide. If no one else builds a marketplace or anything on here, you always go to Vitruveo, find an artwork, buy it, and it'll end up in your wallet. You don't take possession when you pay for it. It's dropped into your wallet right away. Now, my hope is that we can incentivize other marketplaces and new models. Like I would love to have people throw up a swag store where you can select from the registry artworks, apply it to swag, and get it printed and shipped to you. Like whether it's fashion or whatever, Like I want to change the definition of how people consume artwork. It doesn't have to be on a wall always. It can. We with this licensing model, we allow people the possibility to do an infinite array of things, So the possession of artwork could be that you ordered a print of something, So how would music recording artists use the platform? Remember, I talked and I spoke specifically about an asset. An asset could be a painting, a sculpture, a music track, an album, anything like that. So what I envision happening here is that people in those domains will create special purpose apps catering to that. Our job is to provide the infrastructure, the tooling, the ecosystem incentives, etc. And Vitru Hub is a simple way for people to buy it, but I fully expect that people will create vertical dApps that are specialized. Like, for example, if you go out right now and you want to get stock music, right, for your video that you're creating, etc., there's vertical websites for it. There's a ton of them. It's not like one. Similarly, people will build a ton of dApps, and guess what? We allow for markup, right? So people will put a markup on there and make some money. So when there's money involved, people and an opportunity for profit, people will build things, and that's what I see happening.
I gotta correct something real quick here. JMS says exhaled, not exhausted. Excited, yes. I apologize, JMS. I read that wrong. So get back to that one. Okay, I think that's one we just did, and then we have this one. Nick, is there a way for backers or light node holders an option to upgrade into participating the job for media storage?
Potentially, I haven't thought into the economic details of adding that component on there, but we can certainly. That's my next AMA, by the way, is finalizing. I couldn't put the cart before the horse. I couldn't talk about revenue without first presenting how you're going to get a slice of asset revenue, asset registration revenue. Now that it's there, I can complete the validator and backer incentive model, because it's not just about tokens. I struggle with this, honestly, guys, because tokens are going to run out at some point. But it's important for us to have validators who are making money so they keep their servers running, because otherwise we don't have a blockchain. We need validators, right? So for me, I needed to come up with a model that says, okay, there is a pathway to having a perpetual revenue stream. And as long as we can keep growing the creator base, they'll keep registering assets and we'll keep getting money out of it. And so there is going to be a revenue stream. So now that that's there, I can finish up that model and present that back to you.
Awesome.
Very cool. You're going to have to redo your spreadsheet then after that, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It's a flowing spreadsheet right now.
Yep.
Nick, are we launching with all the standards for arts, music, film, etc.? Do we have dApps for each category ready to launch?
We will start with visual arts, give it a few months, learn, improve, tune, understand how to market, understand how the dApps need to work, etc. Then we will move to music, and then we'll move to film after that. So do we have dApps for each category ready to launch? So Artpacks is ready. It's there going. But Vitru Studio and Vitru Hub and Vitru Stream have to be built. The most important ones there are Vitru Studio and Vitru Hub. We have to build those out. But they don't have to be very complex. We'll start. I'll introduce the term MVP to people. It stands for minimum viable product. It's a Silicon Valley term for startups. When you are building a product, you don't wait until the whole product is fully baked, etc. You build the minimum features, you ship it, and then you incrementally keep adding features. So we will build the MVPs of these products, put them out there, and then continually improve them. But we'll focus on visual arts first.
Robert says, I'm struggling right now, but from what I heard from Nick, I'm excited. Better days are coming. And I want to say that, Robert, again, our condolences go out to you, buddy.
Yeah, man,
if you need anything whatsoever, reach out. Whatever any one of us can do. You're a valued member of this community, and we all feel your struggle.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. The next one I got here is Nick. What about AI generated artworks? Seems a tricky space as some models are trained on existing artwork. Will this type of thing be a responsibility of the artist, or will there be a checking of some sort?
Yeah, this is a great question. So look, AI generated artwork is generating sort of the same kind of hype cameras, photos had when they first came into play. Obviously, the big caveat here, or the big sort of controversial point, if you will, is that AI learns from existing artworks, and so there is not yet legal precedence exactly on it, but it will be challenged at some point. So, as a protocol, our job is not to sort of judge those things. What we will do, though, is ensure that the metadata uh, clearly states that it's AI generated, right? We want to be clear on that. But we can't take on the responsibility of reviewing each artwork. We're going to review the creators and the artworks. If here's a possibility that might actually happen. You might be able to list an artwork, consign it for free, uh, and those would not have a fee, etc. But those would not get a stamp of approval, But if you pay a fee, then potentially they go through a cursory review, and you would get a certain stamp. You could opt for a more in-depth review and pay more, and then that would go through a manual review, and you could get certification and things like that. So there's a lot of different things we can do around that. The models exist right now for that. Like if you look at app stores and all that, you can pay to get a premium kind of listing and things like that on most platforms, right? So we'll do similar things like that. But when it comes to AI artworks, we have to be even-handed in our approach. We can't just single out AI artwork and say that, okay, we're going to do X only for AI. What we want to do is make sure that the metadata reflects that it's AI, and that's about it.
Awesome. Let's see. The next one we have here is Nick. Why do you buy NFTs on OBJKT and Foundation?
Object.
Or,
Yeah.
and do you plan to direct or integrate Vitruveo to them?
Yeah, so I get asked this question all the time. Why am I buying illiquid art, right? So I'm doing it because I truly believe in Web3, and I truly believe in this being an art renaissance that's been 400 years in the making. I do it as a catalyst for artists, to support them and to encourage them to continue to stay and thrive in this field. So I also love art, So if you are an investor and you're buying art for investment, then you're going to obviously look for art that is liquid, right? But if you just love art, you don't care if you can resell it or whatever. In fact, I have sold 0 artworks. I only buy them to support the artists. I identify and look for artists that have a good style, and have an interesting story, and then I support them. So, do I plan to direct or integrate Vitru 2 with them? So, in terms of our ecosystem, we do want to attract marketplaces to our platform. But here's the interesting dilemma. The marketplaces have a business model that is almost, let's say, hostile to creators. They charge a lot. They don't upgrade their systems very often. They don't do any marketing. They don't help with sales, etc. Now, what we are trying to do here is create a slightly different, more welcoming model for creators. So I feel like the marketplaces that will come on board our platform are ones that haven't yet established huge traction in other places, and the teams see an opportunity here to get first mover advantage. In the world of startups in any domain, first mover advantage is a big deal, because it means you can solidify your position and grow from there. So I feel like startups that are just getting into Ethereum or Solana or Tezos with a marketplace because they have a vertical idea will more than likely hop on here because they see greenfield, an opportunity to make a lot of money.
All right. The next one, Dad Bod Veteran, a guy that I identify with a lot. How does a traditional artist get started
All at the same
if
time.
he or she isn't on chain already? Will there be basic dApps or marketplace?
Vitru Studio is where they get started.
Yeah.
They will sign in, and it will basically invite them to upload their first asset, their artwork. They go through, they call them wizard, the step-by-step workflow where you go next. So it's going to walk them through it. They upload the artwork, give it a name, give it a description, give it a price, choose how the licensing they want. And when it's all done, boom, it's on chain. So that's how they get started. So you do that with an email address, and nothing else.
Next comment that comes up. I don't know. Oh, okay. This actually, I brought this up and it starred. So, great work, Nick. Keep it up. I'm really glad we have you and very excited about the blockchain. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions. Do you guys on the panel? You got any kind of questions or anything like that?
I mean, no. I think I said what I wanted to say. I know as we get closer to now that you laid out the plan. Now it's time to get to work, right? So the next question is when this, when that, when this. So I'll leave it to you, Nick, to start giving us the dates of, of what to expect. But if I had any questions, it would be, I guess the question for me would be specifically about and I think it was someone actually posted a chat, and it was about the revenue streams for the nodes and the validators and those types of things. And you addressed it, but
Yeah.
I know you don't got the economics on that yet, or the math on it yet. So we'll wait till you got it. But that'd be the only question I would have. And I know it's it's in your head, and you'll present something, and we'll go from there. So
yeah, I guess the main, I have been a little infrequent at posting updates, and that's largely because I've just been working very hard on a lot of things. Like you have to realize that we are starting from scratch on a lot of things. So putting systems in place, hiring people, getting them to understand what their roles are, while at the same time executing on vision, figuring out finances, working budgets, etc. There is an infinitely large number of things to be done, and I'm glad we have a sort of nice sort of Discord team there. Speaking of that, I just want to communicate to everyone. You saw what I talked about here today. We have to incentivize and attract the world's best creators, the world's best museums, galleries. We are trying to make our Discord really, really professional for that reason. So you're going to see that gradually happen. The team, I've given them their direction. I've given them their focus, and they're doing their job there. So you're going to see that trend happen more and more. We are gradually just going to change the tone of the culture of this organization to be one that's very professional and something that people hop in for, like, I want to be part of this, and not like, whoa, I don't want to be part of this.
Well, Nick, personal observation and comments that have come to me is that they have been a lot of people have been excited about a lot of the stuff in the Discord. It seems more professional. It seems to be people if they're disagreeing, they're discussing their disagreements, everything like that. But people are generally enjoying, and liking the structure of the Discord, and it seems to be going really well. And I do have to say, whenever an issues come up, they're readily available for me. So I mean, they're not like every word I say, but I put a ticket in for a certain thing the other day, and I got it. It was like 30 minutes later, I had a full conversation with them. So, I think people are liking it. Although I have to say, one thing that I hear a lot is the node chat. That's about the only thing I'm hearing, and I know they're working on it, but they're like, "When's the node chat?" And I'm like, they're working on it. That's all I know.
So this is the for the validators, right? The token gated thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. So we now, as of day before yesterday, I looked, and we finally got all the numbers. I told people to double and triple check them because I wanted to make sure that the addresses are all correct. This includes all the amounts and addresses with what was UXI. So that I still owe people a cap table on that. I'm well aware. I have a long list of things I know I owe people. It'll come out gradually, but I have to prioritize. Like, my priority right now is to unblock anyone working in marketing because our website, our pitch decks for investors, etc., none of that happens unless this stuff that I just presented today is clearly communicated. And now that that's there, you're going to see people working, and very, very soon we'll have our website with all of this content on there, etc. And it'll be much slicker than what I presented. This was, as I said, raw, just coming straight from me, not creative types. So it'll be cleaned up and be really cool.
Well, I think it's going in the right direction. I think that
Yeah.
I have to give you a lot of credit for the fact that this presentation, you took what was in your mind and what you have been speaking for a long time, and you put it. You've been up for a while working on it, and it's pretty good work. I would have to say that I'm very impressed, and I like we see your vision and what was in your head by this presentation. And I think it's very beneficial for the community, and a lot of people are going to be looking at certain things, have a lot of questions, but I think the presentation was excellent. But NR, is this question from you?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I figured you'd want to.
I thought I had myself up there, but apparently I had all the
That's
channels
okay.
up, so I do apologize. But yeah, Nick, I was wondering with the KYC for the creators, how is that going to be handled? Are you guys going to handle that in-house? Are you going to hire an outside third party to do that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, KYC there'll be levels of that. So there's some basic levels around things that can be done in an automated way. Like, for example, your mobile number, we don't need anyone for that. It's automatic, right? We can just do that. But other things we would need to use, we would need to do that. My philosophy is always like, if you can get at a cost-effective way experts to do something that is not your core competency, pay the experts to do it.
I'm with you there, 110%.
There's enough services out there. KYC is not our core competency. We have no benefit from it. So that would become a cost thing. Now, the thing there is we will have tiers, and I think at the higher tiers, we would ask the creator to split the cost or something like that, because it can get like pretty expensive, the KYC. But at the same time, if you're an artist and each artwork sells for $100,000,
right,
you're not gonna blink at paying $100 for KYC to get a certain badge on the platform and be in a top tier gallery or something like that, So I think that's how this will work out. But it will mostly be outsourced. I don't see us doing that in house.
Thank you, sir.
Here's a question from my good buddy Rickness. A friend of mine makes and sells like backpacks and handbags and stuff. Would there be a way for her to sell through the blockchain?
Yeah. So I look, what we will provide is a repository of artworks with their license terms and the costs clearly and programmatically available. Now, in order to create an e-commerce store like you're alluding to, someone needs to build a dApp. Some developer on our chain needs to build a dApp and take it where you have this product, and at the point of checkout, you have maybe a search thing, a keyword search. It searches that repository of artworks, presents that, and then it applies that artwork onto whatever it is, the backpack, handbag. Like if you've seen websites like Placeit or Mockups, etc., right? They do that. It's pretty easy to do. So you would do that, and then you would check out and have the user, pay for it. The payment for the artwork would go to the artist, and the buyer would get an NFT that indicates their provenance for that artwork, that they own it. And then later, maybe in a couple of weeks, you would ship the backpack or whatever. So someone needs to build that store. That's the opportunity. We are creating an opportunity here for a bunch of entrepreneurs to jump in and take this model. Now, I have been working very closely and for a bit, and now it's kind of back burner, but I'll bring it to the front burner again, with a company in Portugal called Diverge Sneakers. It's an amazing platform. If you go to diverge-sneakers.com, so you can get a blank sneaker, you can design everything around it. And what we want to do is, at the last step, we want to present a dialogue of artworks and apply that to your shoe. And 2 weeks later, you get this awesome sneaker. So we will do that first experiment with sneakers. We will have that. But for other products, people need to step up and build this. This is a great opportunity for developers. And guess what? We will have grant programs to incentivize people to do that.
Very cool. The other thing too is you may have a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork on a one-of-a-pair kind of shoes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
You guys know how much some of these sneakers sell that are one-of-a-kind, or there's very few in circulation. I could really see that being a thing. No doubt.
It's still a thing, right? I mean, people still
Yeah.
sign up for those Jordans.
Yeah,
man, for real.
110%. And I was actually texting Kryptonian. I'm like, man, I could see independent writers, bookstore. I mean, my mind's going 1,000 miles a minute here.
Oh yeah.
Well, being an
I was writing
author and
stuff down.
everything like you are,
Yeah, man,
aren't
it's
you?
going. Which book's probably dropping at the end of the month, man. Books
Yeah,
probably dropping at the
excited
end of the
about
month.
that.
Yeah.
I better get
But
that signed copy, brother. Talk
Yes,
about
sir.
that.
When Nick's talking about the sneakers and everything, I'm just thinking about getting my Elite Commanders and
That would be cool.
from Fowler's NFTs and slapping them on some sneakers and walking around with them.
Well, you already wrapped
"Where'd
your
you get
truck with
those?"
one of them, didn't you? I remember you wrapped your truck with all those NFTs that you bought from them.
The one that's behind Pride right now. I was going to put it on my hood.
Oh yeah! Oh, congratulations, Pride. That's sick, man.
That is badass.
nice.
Next question we have is, would I be able to PM Nick in our Discord to discuss an idea I have to bring a bunch of artists to the blockchain? I think that there's
so Chris reached out to me, and I think he said he tried to message you, Nick, and I think you have private messages off or something. Chris brought an idea about kind of like memorabilia and things that need to be verified and stuff like that. So he's got some really good ideas, but he did reach out to me and I think Chris as well, and asked if there's any way we could put you two guys together so he could discuss something with you.
I think if he wants to get a message to Nick, there is a place in the Discord for questions, and it seems like it's a lot associated with asking Nick directly. I don't know how much Nick gets involved with that, but
I go in there, but honestly, guys, one of the challenges is that it's not scalable. I'm getting so many DMs.
Your plate's full. Yeah, your plate's probably super full. Yeah.
One of the things I'm working on right now is as soon as we can get our ecosystem kind of team in place, I want to have someone do a little bit of triage for me, and because it doesn't require me to answer this. There's other people that should, like people in charge of partnerships, etc., should be able to do a lot of that. So just bear with me, maybe another 3 or 4 days. I'll have someone in place who can triage and be more efficient at it. Because
I can imagine
as long as I'm doing it, I'm blocking things. And although it is my intent to make everyone happy and talk to everyone, it's just not practical.
Nick's the bottleneck there. It's
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Nick, you got to step your game up, your presentation, everything. You're not doing enough, man. You 2 days
down,
straight
Nick.
without
you need to
Slow
go
down,
72 hours with no sleep.
Come on, Nick.
Yeah, who needs sleep?
Not even
Now,
one.
I must say,
Sleep's overrated.
in my Twitter profile is my calendar link where anyone can sign up for a 15, 30, or 60-minute meeting. And as long as it's not within the next 72 hours, it's auto-approved.
And it'll be licensed. I'm just joking. It's a joke.
Listen to that.
Well, he's going to regret giving out that link for meetings with him.
Next question we have is, what about standard coin investors, trading, bridge, etc.?
This is about the overarching more protocol thing. Yeah, that's not going away. We're working on that too. I had to dive into one specific area today, and that's what I kind of focused on. But we'll pull back again and look at the overarching.
What he talked about today is what's going to facilitate that, guys.
Yeah.
So that's all in the midst of all that. So yeah, and I'm excited about that talk because now that I know what's ahead of it and what's pulling, I know what horse is pulling the cart now. And I'm excited. So
yeah,
I like that.
Okay, I got that one. All right. And Rob says, I remember having Larry Fink from BlackRock saying the tokenization of assets will be the next generation for markets. Vitruveo will be perfect for tokenization, I believe. Right, Nick?
Yeah. So here's the thing, all right? One of the things you find out very quickly as an entrepreneur building a startup with a vision or whatever is you go to market with certain expectations, certain ideas, etc. But then the market responds in different ways, and who knows where it might lead. You might start off building widget A, but you might end up with widget B. So part of what you do is you keep things flexible, and you don't bolt things down too tightly in one direction. Allow some experimentation, etc. So we've got a protocol now where we'll have the ability to register assets. Well, if someone wants to come and register an asset, like, I don't know, a truck or something like that, they'll be able to do it. It's public, right? It's a blockchain. You can do whatever you want. But if someone comes up with a use case that we hadn't thought of, yeah, why not? Like we're not gonna like this is you're not. It's not you're not a creator. It's not an artwork. Therefore, you cannot use this. We can't do that. We have no way to do it. But if people find alternate ways to use our protocol, I think that's great. Because remember, we started off saying that we want to be vertical because that is the only way to be competitive in this space. You can't go out and be horizontal and compete with Ethereum or Avalanche or any of those, right? But the over time, if we start branching and growing out horizontally, that's not a bad thing. It just means we've got more users on our protocol. It's fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
That's good.
And Larry Fink isn't the only one. I've read numerous articles about how the tokenization of assets is just it's going to be the next $1 billion revolution. Everything from real estate, like we're doing Kryptonian, to who knows where. Just the tokenization of everything, fractionalization of things.
Yeah, people talk about real estate quite a bit, there. But that's got to be a protocol unto itself because it's so specialized and so much regulatory stuff involved, etc. Like you can't just say that, well, here's a general blockchain and I'm going to throw in a few smart contracts and make it real estate. Yeah.
So you think real estate would be specialized for its own blockchain?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. The next comment we have here is, can Vitruveo engage in logistics like VET? I'm not sure what VET is.
I don't know what that is either. So someone would.
Does anybody know? Or
I have no clue.
Moding? Did you want to elaborate on that? I'll kind of keep an eye out for it. Michael Douglas. The sky is the limit, and it's endless possibilities. Real world problems with real world solutions. A creator's dream. As a validator, I'm hugely optimistic. And as a creator, I think that's what he's trying to say. Very excited. I'm very happy we have landed here. If that's not what you meant, let me know. I will fix it. Just like JMass was saying, I don't see. Are you? I didn't get to read this, but I saw something about your vision in here. I hope Nick's vision with artworks 100% cause the projects that are out now and ones that are scheduled to launch later will not really generate any real volume or enough transactions to help.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important part, right? We can build a protocol, but if there's no utility, if there's no compelling applications for people to use it for, why would they come on here? There's rebasing itself is not a solution that will incentivize people. There needs to be more than that.
Corey Hanks comes in here and he says VET is a crypto that tackles logistics and business.
Yeah, and it's VeChain.
VeChain.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I'm not familiar with it, so I'll have to understand what that actually means.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have any other starred comments or anything like that.
That's great because I'm just being summoned. It's my daughter's birthday today, and we have to go to birthday dinner.
And you truly are a man that just gives up his time.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's your daughter's birthday. Go have fun.
Yeah, I haven't spent any time with her today, so I'll just at least go do a cake cutting and go to dinner now. So.
Yeah. Sure, happy birthday from us.
Well, we didn't know that, so don't be mad at us. Okay, we had no idea. We could have postponed.
Oh no, I didn't say that to anybody. So I'm not at all mad. I mean,
I was telling her because she'd be like,
blame Kryptonian.
Yeah, you can blame me. Chris blames me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you blame me, so that's that.
And
all right.
Well, Greg gives me
Nick,
false links to certain places. Good.
Do you have any final words or anything like that you want
to? Yeah. So
you said a lot, so I guess.
Yeah, it's posted on there. Please digest it. Look forward to your comments, etc. But the team is now gonna, we have a standing meeting now, and I'm coming up with a mechanism by which we start off by publishing updates to Discord. We'll start doing that. But as I mentioned, I'd like at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Friday, if at all possible, to get the team on here where we talk a little bit about what their background is, etc., and just say hi, and talk about different roles, etc. Not all positions are filled yet, but some of the critical ones are, and I would love for you to meet people and question other people also, not just me. So
Yeah,
but
I'll be available. So just let me know if that time is a confirmation or what, and I'll set it up. And anybody that can join.
It's
Uh,
about 11 a.m. Central. Central. You said 9 a.m. Pacific, right? So
6
9
a.m.
a.m.
right?
Yeah, it would be 11 your time.
okay,
Your
yeah,
time.
I'll be able to do that. It's
Yeah.
Friday, right? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sounds
But thank
good.
you all. I really appreciate your support. I'm very pumped about this. It's all coming together. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to fit together and it's going to go far. We're going to work our asses off to make that happen. I'm very pumped about it, and let's just have fun and change the world, make it better.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Love
right.
it.
Take care, everybody.
Yep.